Lobbying, as a way to inform and influence policymaking, is essential to democracy. It is an avenue for anyone to provide information to their government representatives to help shape policies that would positively impact their lives. At the same time, this tool can also be used by powerful groups to influence laws at the expense of the public interest, which has the potential to undermine trust in public institutions and democratic processes. What works to improve transparency and integrity in lobbying practices? The OECD Public Integrity Indicators provide evidence to support countries in their efforts to strengthen their resilience to corruption risks. OECD countries have weaker safeguards to prevent and manage risks in lobbying compared to risks in conflict of interest, political finance, and access to public information. On average, OECD countries fulfill 37% of standard regulatory safeguards and implement 34% of standard safeguards in practice. However, there are strong differences between countries. Some are better equipped than others to prevent and address lobbying risks. Few OECD countries have strong safeguards. Those with the most regulatory safeguards also tend to implement many safeguards in practice. When rules and regulations on lobbying are in place, they work. A majority of OECD countries still have few or no standard regulations in place and do not implement many safeguards in practice. There are several ways these countries can make lobbying practices more transparent and safe to protect the interest of the public. Disclosing lobbying activities through a publicly available register increases transparency on lobbying practices, which can, in turn, deter improper conduct. 43% of OECD countries have a lobbying register available to the public that provide basic information, such as the name of the lobbyist. These registers, however, do not always provide the right level of information to guarantee full transparency in lobbying activities. For example, only 17% of countries have registers that contain information on the legislation targeted by the lobbyist. 57% do not have a lobbying register. Cooling off periods require public officials to take a break between leaving their positions and becoming a lobbyist. This helps to prevent the revolving door effect, where individuals move back and forth between government and lobbying positions, and can use their government contacts and knowledge to benefit private interests. 60% of OECD countries impose a cooling off period for public officials, but only 7% also impose one for lobbyists. 40% do not have cooling off periods in place. Any system needs teeth. Setting clear rules and penalties for breaking them can help to ensure that lobbyists are acting with integrity. 35% of OECD countries have defined a set of sanctions in the regulatory framework in case of breaches of standards for transparency and integrity in lobbying. Investigations for non-compliance were carried out in 25% of OECD countries. 65% do not have sanctions. For more anti-corruption and integrity indicators, please visit the OECD Public Integrity Indicators portal at oecdpublicintegrityindicators.org.